What's up, everybody? How you doing? I am in a wonderful hotel room with hotel art over both of my shoulders. And that red shirt is from the University of Arizona, which fucking got worked last night in the Sweet 16. All right, everybody. I don't know if Kate's with us today. She might be sick. Hello, everybody in the chat. You can join us. Thank you, everybody, for watching on the CAA tube, on rockfin.com, and of course, everybody over at Twitch. What is up? Share this out on your social media. Hit the like button. All that stuff helps. And support us. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to put this on the bottom. Where's the... yes, LiberaPay. Yeah. Go to liberapay.com/government secrets. Check that out. And this is my PV merchandise. Go to grahamelwood.com. You can get this logo on a bunch of stuff. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh. All right. I'm allergic to American hegemony. All right. Yeah, we're all got everything rocking and rolling. All right, let's bring I was about to call him Keith. Hey, what's up? What's up, Keith? How's it going, man?
The big question, how many episodes will it take for Graham to know Lee's name? You can vote in the chat. What?
We've only done 77 episodes together. It's like we only, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm supposed to know the name of a guy I talk to for an hour every week, like more than my family members. Like it's not, you can't expect me to just know your name like all the time or whatever. So
now the PV shirt, that stands for penis venereal disease, correct?
Yes, this is my penis venereal line of merchandise. I am the penis venereal disease show.
I mean, listen, most of us have it, but we just don't have the T-shirt to go with it. So I think this is a good thing.
You might as well. I mean, you might as well make some merch off of it if that's what you're dealing with.
Oh, you had to start the show with all your bragging. When I'm on tour, I stay in a hotel, not a hostel, like most people. I went to University of Arizona. I'm such big time. I get it. We all get it.
Yeah, I stay in a hotel rather than live like a hobo, sleeping in a hostel. No, I'm a grown man. I stay in a hotel room that has art. Look at that! Look at that amazing hotel artwork.
Oh, yours has a lamp too.
Yeah,
just keep rubbing it in, Graham.
And a mirror and a door. Like it's nuts. I'm not sharing this room with anybody. It's really. It even has a technology that you'll never use. A hotel phone.
Look at that. Telephone. I've heard of those.
I'm old enough and have been a comedian long enough to remember the days when I would, on my home answering machine, say, if you need to get a hold of me, call me at this number, hotel room.
Oh, yeah.
Like some
the phone did not follow you around in life.
No.
It had its place.
Hello?
And you I bet you there are people old enough now to be staying in hotel rooms and wondering why there was ever a need for a phone in the room. Why did they give us a phone? That's like giving us a pair of underwear. Shouldn't we bring our own? What? I don't understand.
I literally saw this video of a guy that has like two teenage sons showing them, seeing if they could figure out how to use a rotary phone on their own, and they couldn't. They were literally, it's amazing to watch. They're just like, wow, my God. They're like, dial this number. And they were like, I don't know. Which one do we do?
And it ended with them losing 2 fingers. One from each kid. Yeah.
Caught in the Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Government Secrets, episode 77. Hotel room edition with Graham and Keith.
Isn't that the name of one of those wacky morning shows? Keith and the Graham. Keith and the Telegram Bear.
It's Zipperhead, Graham, and Keith on Wacko 96.5. Actually, your name is Lee Camp, and it should be noted it's not my fault if you keep changing your name. So it's I shouldn't have to be.
It's true. I do keep changing my name, and it just makes it more confusing that I type it on the bottom of the screen there for you.
Well, that's the same amount of effort. You know how much effort that takes so much effort. It's like having to go back and see old episodes just so I can number this one correctly. It's so much work.
True. It's true.
It's too much for me to handle. I'm gonna put on some chapstick in real time.
Oh, hot! This is the sexy episode.
Yeah. So I guess since we're doing your part 2 of how amazing World War I is.
World War I Part 2. Yep.
And I can do my This Week in Government Secrets. Last week I didn't get to because we started really late and I was just too pissed off at robots to have anything.
Your This Week in Government Secrets was just a rage fest last week. It was just Graham ripping up appliances, bashing toasters in with telephones.
Come at me, you Terminator motherfuckers! Come at me. Yes. All right. So let me do This Week in Government Secrets, and this is how I found this. I love that we can just do this. I just typed in today, March 25th, and then I started to type in 19. And then all these different years came up. And then I saw 1911 fire just in the search. And I was like, okay. So I want to talk about the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire in Greenwich Village neighborhood of Manhattan on March 25th, 1911. This is the deadliest industrial disaster in the history of the city and one of the most deadliest in U.S. history. The fire caused the death of 148 garment workers, 123 women and girls, and 23 men who died from fire, smoke inhalation, or falling or jumping to their deaths. Most of the victims were recent Italian or Jewish immigrant women and girls aged 14 to 23. So, first of all, fantastic that we had children working in a factory at that age.
And we're trying to get back. We're trying to get back there. Recently, they've been repealing anti-child labor laws. So,
oh, good. We got to get kids back in the workforce. We don't want them to be a bunch of lazy do nothings. So when you read that first couple of lines, you think to yourself, well, God, what happened? How come they were trapped and how come they had to jump to their deaths? Well, guess what? Many of the people died because the doors to the stairwells and exits were locked. This was a common practice at the time to prevent workers from taking unauthorized breaks and to reduce theft. So once again, good old capitalism murders children, women and children and men.
To stop, I love this. Let's lock them in to stop unauthorized breaks. These gosh darn workers keep taking a break, keep pausing to let the rheumatoid arthritis chill out before they get to, like, honestly.
It's like, oh, I can't have some, 15-year-old girl that's getting carpal tunnel like 50 years before she's supposed to because she's doing some repetitive labor thing. Take a break. No. Better lock her up so she can die from a fire. So many of the workers could not escape from the building and jumped from the high windows. The fire led to legislation requiring improved factory safety standards and helped spur the growth of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, the ILGWU, which fought for better working conditions for sweatshop workers. And thanks to globalization, now companies can circumvent these laws by just putting factories overseas where there's none of this regulation or unions or anything like that. So now they can just murder women and children and people in third world countries.
Right. So I think part of what you're seeing with the repeal of some of these anti-child labor laws is that America can't compete anymore with a lot of these countries. So we're seeing a slight recession of globalization towards isolationism. Well, how are you going to get the things made for pennies on the dollar the way you have been? Well, you stop making them in China, but you repeal the child labor laws here so that we can abuse workers equivalently.
Yeah, it's the good old days. We could go back and abuse American workers rather than people in third world countries. And God forbid CEOs cut their salaries. We couldn't have that happen. We couldn't just have CEOs making, I don't know, 2 to 3 times what the average employee makes. They need to make 15 to 20 times. So then,
in all due respect, do you realize how much it costs to keep your jet ski inside your yacht? Like you have to, because you got to park it. You want to park it on the inside to keep it nice. So your yacht needs a jet ski parking lot that's, can hold 15 to 20 of them because you might have friends over. So,
well, yeah, you're not going to take some rowboat out to your yacht like a goddamn animal, like a filthy heathen. I mean, most yachts, Bezos got that yacht and it has a support yacht, which is like, thank God. I can't imagine just owning a yacht without a support yacht. And if you expect these people to buy like a used yacht or something without a support yacht, used yacht to me is like wearing somebody else's dirty diaper. It just feels disgusting.
Yeah, it's truly gross. Waist deep in old caviar. It's rough. And I think honestly, and then you really want to step up to the helicopter yacht, the yachter copter, because then you can fly. You can fly your yacht out to where you can, sail your yacht or whatever term they use for yachts. It's not sail, motor your yacht.
Well, how do you get the caviar and the models out there? Is the caviar just supposed to swim itself out to the goddamn yacht? How are they supposed to? You got to.
It looks like a t-shirt gun, but it shoots caviar, so they shoot it out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Same with the models. Same with the half-naked women.
They have a model t-shirt cannon. They just shoot them out there. Yeah. So thank God the owners have done this because, like we said, polo horses don't feed themselves. This is the Triangle Waist Company, WAIST, a factory occupied the 8th, 9th, and 10th floors.
I'm confused. Does this mean the waist of the clothing was shaped like a triangle? Because I don't think that works on a human.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what that means. That's what that means.
All right.
So they owned 8, 9, 10, and 10 floors of the 10-story Ash building in the northwest corner of that neighborhood. And under the ownership of Max Blank and Isaac Harris, the factory
you couldn't have taken the time to do the research to find out his last name, Graham. Seriously. Fucking lazy.
Max Blank. I don't know. What am I supposed to learn? First, your name's it's Keith now or Lee. What the fuck am I supposed to do here, man? Like, I got to do everything. I got to read a guy's last name. I got to remember yours. Like this, I can't.
I just put blanks in at things I needed to look up. So the fire was caused by blank, and the CEO blank said blank. So
I either call everything Blank or Keith. Otherwise, I just don't know what it is. So this was the Blank Keith fire. I don't know. Whatever. This factory normally employed about 500 workers, mostly young Italian and Jewish immigrant women and girls who worked 9 hours a day on weekdays plus 7 hours on Saturdays. Oh, wow. Nice.
They gave them an easy Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday's easy. Earning for their 52 hours of work between $7 and $12 a week, the equivalent of $191 to $327 a week in today's currency, which is roughly 367 to 629 per hour today, is what the equivalent of what they were paid. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean,
did you say that today it would be $6.29 an hour?
At the most.
Oh, at the most. Because I was going to say, doesn't that say a lot that from sweatshop, like the worst of sweatshop labor times, we're still barely above, minimum wage is barely above it.
Oh yeah, God, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, in a lot of states, minimum wage is 7 something. So like, we're just now
it's $7.25, and then you have sub. We covered this on an episode. You have sub minimum wage of $2.15.
Yeah, sub minimum wage $2.15. That's for the tipping. You did that episode with that segment where we talked about how the tipping is a scam. So this is like, yeah, and then you got to die for your company. It's like that's the.
It's the most noble American thing you could do. As they were jumping out of the windows, they were singing "God Bless America." It was actually pretty beautiful. Saluted as they went down.
That's American freedom. So that's this week in government secrets. Twigs, March 25th.
All right, let's jump back into World War I.
Yay!
And for those of you who missed last week, you should definitely go back and listen to that after you're done here, because we did a lot of good stuff last week. But so this is part 2 of World War I. This is coming from Oliver Stone and Peter Kuznick's book, The Untold History of the United States. So we got into a lot of the censorship last time around. I don't think I got to this part, but you can stop me if I did this page. But the War Department also turned, because we were talking about college campuses, also turned docile college campuses into military training grounds. On October 1st, 1918, 140,000 students on more than 500 campuses were simultaneously inducted into the Army as part of the Student Army Training Corps. You got to get them while you're young. And in the Senate, I think it was 6 people voted against the war. As we covered last time, the World War was hugely unpopular, but then they started this crazy propaganda effort to make it more popular. Because, you gotta really advertise war. You really do.
Well, it's so funny. Like, we're seeing it now. Joe Biden just gave this speech to the 82nd Airborne saying, you're going to Ukraine and you're going to rescue women and do all this stuff. And it's just telling these young, mainly men and women, but young people, most of them in their late teens or early 20s, that you got to go fight in war. And you're going to see all this stuff. They said, well, here's one thing you're not going to see. You're not going to see any rich people fighting in that war. They're going to be at home watching their stock prices go up on all of their defense portfolio. So this is time honored tradition. And this is,
and that's not even to mention the fact that sending American troops over there is basically calling for nuclear war. You're basically just diving head deep into nuclear Armageddon that will impact everyone, killing most of us. So sounds like a great plan. Can't wait. Really excited. Just everybody get an above ground pool. Just do that.
And when they start talking, if they start talking like World War III is going to happen, CNN's going to be like, get a duct tape and saran wrap your windows, and dummies are going to go buy this and be like, guys, really, this is This is like getting floaties for like 100-foot tidal wave. Like, it's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, strap on your water wings and just be ready for the fucking tsunami. It's radioactive tsunamis coming your way. Put on the water wings.
Oh, radioactive tsunami! I saw them in concert, Lee. They were fantastic. I'm bringing that joke back, Keith. Come on, buddy.
I'm always a fan of that was my band name jokes, but radioactive tsunami, honestly, great.
That's why I haven't done that joke in 6 months, but radioactive tsunami is like, I'll go see that band name just on principle.
See, I was going to say that was the name of a heavyset stripper I met once, but I don't like to get too real in my jokes. So
Well,
Uh,
my first wife was a stripper, so I try not to go down that road.
So so they started. So people went after the few senators that actually voted against going into the war. They called for the ouster of Fighting Bob LaFollette of Wisconsin. I just like back then you had names like Fighting Bob LaFollette. And he was in the U.S. sentence. He was called treasonous for voting against the war. LaFollette survived the national campaign to force his ouster, but the Bill of Rights didn't fare as well. Congress passed some of the most repressive legislation in the country's history, the Espionage Act of 1917. We're all a fan of that. That's being used heavily now. It started being used a lot under Obama for like the first time ever since World War I. And Obama used it more than all the presidents before him combined, almost exclusively, or maybe exclusively to go after whistleblowers. So, and now it's what's being used to go after Julian Assange. The Espionage Act of 1917, the Sedition Act of 1918 curbed speech and created a climate of intolerance toward dissent. Under the Espionage Act, people faced $10,000 fines and up to 20 years in jail. And then the Postmaster General also started banning any socialist literature. He said he expanded the act to anyone who might utter, print, write, or publish any disloyal, profane, scurrilous, or abusive language about the form of the government of the United States or the Constitution of the United States or the military or the naval forces of the United States, and whoever shall by word or act support or favor the cause of any country with which the U.S. is at war, or by word or act oppose the cause of the United States. So it was actually illegal to say anything against the United States.
And still is.
I mean, in a certain way, it still is. Yeah.
It still is, which is why, I mean, why it's not flat out illegal. What they do now is, they've learned this over the decades, is now, and it's something you and I have talked about, it's something they don't, like, it's not illegal for you to do your YouTube show. They'll just take your YouTube down. It's not illegal for me to, they just demonetize it. They just do all these things. And
the excellent, by the excellent philosopher Rage Against the Machine, the line, they don't have to ban the books, they just remove them.
Yeah.
You just remove them.
They just remove them. And they control the education system. They control the media. They control the colleges. I mean, like, so that's like, it's why, someone in the chat's talking about Eugene Debs. I didn't study or know who Eugene Debs was or Smedley Butler. I had to go deep into my adult life to scour through everything to find it. We're not taught about them.
Yep.
How come we're not, War is a Racket should be required reading for high school kids.
Yep.
But it's not.
I thought Smedley Butler was a brand of jelly and jam.
He's actually the lead singer of Radioactive Tsunami.
Speaking of Eugene Debs, hundreds of people were jailed for criticizing the war, including IWW leader Big Bill Haywood. God, Haywood. They had much better nicknames back then. And socialist Eugene Debs. Debs spoke out repeatedly against the war and was finally arrested in June 1918. And also he had already run for president. So they were looking for a way to sideline him. But here's the line. Here's the only line in the speech where he mentions war, the speech that they arrested him for. He says, quote, "Wars throughout history have been waged for conquest and plunder, and that is war in a nutshell. The master class has always declared the wars. The subject class has always fought the battles." He didn't even get into specifics about the war, about what was going on, about the U.S. government in the war. He just said that sentence. And for that, U.S. Attorney E.S. Wirtz, the Fighting Wirtz, I made up his nickname, had Debs indicted on 10 violations of the Espionage Act. Debs pleaded guilty. He told the jury, quote, "I have been accused of obstructing the war. I admit it. Gentlemen, I abhor war. I would oppose war if I stood alone. I have sympathy with the suffering, struggling people everywhere. It does not make any difference under what flag they were born or where they live." And then he said, Your Honor, years ago, I recognized my kinship within all living beings, and I made up my mind that I was not one bit better than the meanest on earth. I said then, and I say now, that while there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. While there is a soul in prison, I am not free. And he was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
I mean, it's so funny. Like, one of the things we've, like, this show, like, we talk about this all the time on the show. It's the same pattern. It's the same tactics. It's the same everything. I mean, again, this is what they have done to Julian Assange. I mean, Julian's famous quote, if all wars are started with lies, then peace can, be started with truth. Yep. And all wars are bullshit. The other famous quote, I forget who said it, but, truth is the first casualty of war. And this is how they do it. They just lock people up that speak the truth. I mean, this is just like evil and demonic. And
speaking of that, sorry to break our keep it not topical rule, but they're laying the groundwork right now for a bullshit, totally fake chemical weapons charge against Russia, which, the idea of forcing us into fucking World War III or nuclear war or whatever over this garbage, but it's exactly the same as Syria. They say, oh, we have a red line, chemical weapons, chemical weapons. And then what do you know? The leader that they claim they're going to bomb if he uses chemical weapons just decides to use a few chemical weapons just to see how it goes. And now we know from the 4.0 PCW whistleblowers that the Syria chemical weapons charges were bullshit, but it allowed the U.S. to bomb and go in. And that seems to be the groundwork they're laying right now. Not just Biden has talked about chemical weapons being a red line, and Lloyd Blankfein had some garbage on it. And it's clearly the talking points have gone out. Start laying the groundwork that we're going to do something if chemical weapons are used. And then that's the easiest thing, to just bullshit your way into a war.
Well, I mean, I think one of the most telling things to show you the chemical weapons is always used like, oh God, like we're somehow the humanitarian killers of innocent people, but chemical weapons, that's this awful thing. I'll never forget.
I love the idea that bombs are nice and friendly and chemical weapons are bad.
It's like teddy bears coming out of the sky. And to me, I always would, like, when I would talk to my neoliberal friends, I would always ask them, not really to debate or argue, but just to sort of see how's the propaganda working. And a good friend of mine in Hollywood, college educated, very smart guy, very much like one of these like science brain types, get the research, get the data, very vehemently against Trump when Trump was elected in 2016. And when Trump, his first act of war in April of 17 was bombing in Syria. And I remember I was like, yeah, this is bullshit that he's bombing. And again, this one friend of mine, but numerous like college educated liberals were like, yeah, Trump had to because, Assad used chemical weapons. And I was like, wow, that's how effective it is. Like, you're okay with war.
Go ahead.
Because I was just like, you, and I just went, wow. Because I had already started doing my show, Political Vigilante. And I was like, I was already seeing how they shape things. And that was when Fareed Zakaria said Trump became president today. Yep. Brian Williams was like, oh, look at these rockets. And he was like jerking off all over himself looking at these rockets.
Do you remember what happened 9 days before the supposed chemical weapons use?
Wasn't there a red line in the sand drawn?
Trump said he was pulling troops out of Syria, that area. He was pulling troops out of Afghanistan. Like, he talked about getting all of our remaining forces out of the vicinity of Syria. And then all of a sudden, chemical weapons are used.
Well, get ready. If Zelensky is like, look, man, I'm done. I'm tired of seeing my country get blown up, and goes to Putin and says, I'm done. I won't have NATO bases here. You can give the Donbass region can be Russian. Just pull out. I want my country put back together. The minute Zelensky kind of says no to the U.S. and NATO, if he does, that's when the chemical weapons will happen. Anytime it looks like we're not going to get our way, which is like just NATO troops or bust or World War III, And Zelensky's got to have some people in his ear going, dude, just go talk with Putin and get the America is using you. Do the things that he was saying 2 weeks before the invasion of like the West is causing problems here. That's when the minute it looks like it might go for peace, that's when suddenly it'll do the same crazy thing. Like Assad he's won the civil war. Trump was talking about pulling out. It made no sense for Assad to drop chemical weapons. And of course, we knew that they were American chemical, like the whole thing was bullshit.
Yeah, and we're seeing it repeat right now. I mean, I really, really hope we don't go down that path. But anyway, so obviously there's this huge crackdown on freedom of speech, freedom of press, anybody who's anti-war, anybody who speaks out for peace, like Eugene Debs. Some of them get arrested. Some of them just get beaten in the streets because your mainstream media at that time is basically nearly encouraging the beating of anybody who's anti-war. And then they started going after all things German because, anything that's German in America clearly represents the German government and the German military, thousands of miles away. All things German were vilified in a wave of intolerance masquerading as patriotism. Schools, many of which now demanded loyalty oaths from teachers, banned the German language from their curricula. Libraries across the country discarded German books, and orchestras dropped German composers from their repertoires. Let's see. In World War I, the government then, U.S. government then renamed hamburgers Liberty sandwiches, sauerkraut Liberty cabbage, German measles Liberty measles, and German shepherd dogs police dogs.
Man, I got a really great case of Liberty measles, buddy. I just have so much liberty coursing through my body. It's great.
Do you have a T-shirt for that one? LM?
I do have a Liberty. I do have Liberty measles T-shirts that are for sale. I'm so glad that 100 years later we're not doing the same ridiculous stuff.
I'm so glad we're not repeating all of that shit. What's Russian dressing called now? Liberty dressing.
False flag dressing.
Literally, there's a Russian restaurant in D.C. called Russia House. I don't even think it was operating because of COVID, so I don't even know if they were open. But all the windows were smashed. Because that helps stop. It really helps deal with things. To just beat up on the business of anybody who happens to have come from a country that is doing something you disagree with. That's great.
Well, if America was held to the same standard, every American would be getting their ass kicked in any other country 24/7 for all the fucking bombings and war crimes. Just for the 377,000 dead people in Yemen alone, any American anything would be burned to the ground in any other country.
Yeah. So big surprise, German Americans face discrimination in all aspects of their lives. It's no surprise that dissidents were not only ostracized, they were occasionally murdered by patriotic mobs. The Washington Post assured its readers that occasional lynchings were a small price to pay for a healthy upsurge of patriotism. Enemy propaganda, they said, quote, enemy propaganda must be stopped even if a few lynchings may occur. Basically, go out and kill people who are anti-war because it probably helps. It helps with patriotism, helps with morale.
Lee, you can't be a thriving democracy without a few lynchings. You know what I mean? It's like you got to break with omelet. You got to break a few eggs. You know what I mean?
Yep. So before all this propaganda, because the World War I started very unpopular. The vast majority of Americans did not want to go into World War I. But then this wave of propaganda and bullshit, just flooded America. And so the anti-war candidates were actually very popular for a brief time. Socialist Party candidates saw their votes increase exponentially in 1917 in cities throughout the country. 10 socialists won seats in the New York state legislature. But then, of course, the propaganda came and, these same peace candidates either caved. Most of them got in line, the progressives. Nowadays, I think we'd call them liberals.
And then did one of them say my good friend Joe Biden in his final debate before he turned it over? Or I'm thinking of a different election. Sorry. I got my years mixed
up. So Wilson, you know, for a while he was kind of a peace candidate. Yes, he was a racist, hated black people, but he was a peace candidate. Like I said last episode, he won re-election on the slogan, "He kept us out of war." So he had a lot of lofty rhetoric. And then he kind of had to transform it into lofty rhetoric as to why we had to get into the war. So he called it fighting a war to end all wars. Basically, we are going to get peace by winning this war. We need to go to war so we can get peace. And many
the classic wage war for peace. I love it. It's like I've got to bang hookers to fight for celibacy. That's what I'm going to do.
So they convinced themselves that war afforded a unique opportunity. This is the progressives, quote unquote, that war afforded a unique opportunity to implement long desired reforms at home. Another group that took advantage of the war to achieve their aims were the moral reformers to combat sexual vice. Ostensibly concerned about the health of the soldiers, they waged an aggressive campaign against prostitution and venereal disease. Red light districts across the country were shut down, driving prostitutes underground and into the hands of pimps and other exploiters. The crackdown intensified after the passage of the Chamberlain-Kahn Act in 1918, according to which any woman walking, because clearly blame it on the women. It couldn't possibly be the man's fault. If you want to make this illegal, it couldn't possibly be the man's fault. So
I'm sorry. Wait, what the fuck? So wait, I'm trying to follow this insane. So we wanted to get peace, we have to wage war, and to get that, then prostitutes are bad? Like, I'm sorry, I missed the jump in insane capitalist, greedy, using whacked out evangelical Christian logic. I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck?
I think you nailed it. You explained it very well. I think that was it.
Okay. All right. So you guys,
Graham, I'm gonna share an image with you for those of you watching the live stream that I think will help clear this up for you.
This is just 2 girls, 1 cup. What is this? You kept fit and defeated him.
No, defeated the Hun. That's what they call German soldiers.
Defeated the Hun.
So you defeated Germany. Now keep clean. Stamp out venereal disease. This is a real poster from World War I.
You know, if we want to defeat Putin, the girls got to stop wearing short skirts, because really, like, wear a long skirt for democracy and pay $7 a gallon. That's the only way we're out of this Ukraine thing, Lee.
Graham, you know, America can be great and we can achieve all our aims if we just stay away from the whores.
I want everyone who says, if you're going to go out dancing tonight, just leave room for the Holy Ghost. That's the only thing I ask you to do. And the room for the Holy Ghost, that's where freedom is going to get in there to stop Putin. All he wants to do is he wants you to have too much sex. So stay home and don't have fun, and, you know, jerk off into a sock for freedom.
So the law said that any woman walking alone near a military base was subject to arrest, incarceration, and a forced gynecological exam, which reformers condemned as speculum rape. The device is called a speculum. So basically it's medical rape. Those found to have venereal disease were quarantined in federal institutions, basically imprisoned for having a sexually transmitted illness. I mean, it's phenomenally fucked up. So
what the fuck? I'm sorry. We've had some fucked up segments on this show, Lee, but what the fuck is this? Like, this is a new level of insanity, like the greed, the torturing people, like all that other stuff we've talked about, just the blowing. But this is such a level of insanity to justify a horrible war.
Yeah.
And now,
well, also, but also it's that garbage patriarchy idea of like any sexual problem is essentially the woman's fault. You know, like the man in that poster is shown as this big, tough, brave soldier. The woman, meanwhile, is being imprisoned. Like,
right. It's so, wow. It's so much. It's just like, so we've got just capitalists pushing a war, and then the misogyny of just the greedy patriarchy. Just So I guess so. Women are inherently dirty. Is that what that's what they're saying?
Yep, that is correct. There were also posters reading "A German bullet is cleaner than a whore," and a soldier who gets a dose is a traitor. I guess they mean who gets VD is a traitor. One pamphlet asked, "How can you look the flag in the face if you were dirty with gonorrhea?"
Okay, so the flag is a person now.
Oh yeah.
And
this is my favorite part coming up.
All right. I don't think it could get, you can top this, Lee, but
I don't know. I don't know. Reformers also worried that the troops, having discovered what some called, quote, the French way, unquote, would foist their newfound appetite for oral sex on innocent American girls.
Oh, God. Yeah, God forbid the woman actually has fun during sex. You can't have that. You can't let that happen.
I love the idea that they went over to fight in France, and they were like, turns out you could stick it in the mouth. They all come marching back. They're like, it goes in the mouth, guys. It goes in the mouth too.
And when you put your mouth on her parts, she goes nuts. Like you'll have a girlfriend forever. Like, it's amazing. And once again, it's like these guys probably came back like, what the fuck are we fighting war for? We should be having all this hot French sex. Instead, we're stuck up with these.
I love the idea. No soldier had ever figured out oral sex before on their own. You know,
nobody went. Hey,
hey, I wonder what happens if I stick it there.
You know, if you put your mouth on it.
The French way. Basically, these guys were saying the French were having all the fun.
Of course. Of course they were. They still are. They're not all uptight. Like, come on. Like...
All right. So now we get into the less hilarious part. The U.S. troops finally began arriving in Europe They were ordered to charge into the teeth of German machine guns and artillery. France lost half. So this is France. We're back to France for a second. France lost half of their young men between the ages of 15 and 30. Americans first saw meaningful action in May 1918, 6 months before the war's end. So America didn't see much. When they helped beleaguered French forces turn the tide and repulse Germans along the Marne. And yes, I'm going to mispronounce every French word. In September, 600,000 Americans fought valiantly to break through the German lines. The Germans surrendered on November 11th, 1918. In all, of the 2 million U.S. soldiers who reached France, over 116,000 died, 204,000 were wounded. By comparison, European casualty figures were truly staggering, perhaps as many as 10 million dead soldiers and 20 million dead civilians, the latter due mostly to disease and starvation. And then we get into chemical weapons. This was the advent of chemical weapons.
Mustard gas.
the taboo against chemical weapons and other poisons in war dates back to the Greeks and Romans. Various efforts were made to codify a ban over the centuries. In 1863, the U.S. War Department's Lieber Code of Conduct prohibited the use of poison in any manner, be it to poison wells or food or arms. And by the way, to this day, chemical weapons are supposed to be banned by the Geneva Conventions, but not against your own citizens. So luckily, our police can still use chemical weapons on us.
Yep. Banned chemical weapons. The United States police can use them against us.
So Ulysses S. Grant refused to use whatever type of chemical weapon they had come up with in the Civil War. He had a sense of how civilized nations should behave. The Hague Declaration concerning asphyxiating gases of 1899 outlawed the wartime use of projectiles whose sole object was the diffusion of asphyxiating and deleterious gases. Germany broke the spirit, if not the note, of the Hague Convention when it first successfully used poison gas in April 22nd, 1915. A yellowish-green plume of chlorine gas blanketed French troops along 4 miles of trenches with catastrophic results. Over 600 soon lay dead. Many more were temporarily blinded, and a good number taken prisoner. The Washington Post headlined its front page article, "Crazed by Gas Bombs," and reported German threats that more potent gas weapons were on the way. The New York Times editorially condemned the use of poison gas, not because it killed people more cruelly than other methods, but because of the suffering of survivors. As if survivors don't suffer from our other bombs and shit. The British did indeed retaliate with poison gas in September, only to see the winds shift and the gas blown back into the British trenches, resulting in more British casualties than German. Brilliant. Never fire gas bombs at an enemy who's upwind.
Oh, and yeah, I mean, this is like on and on, like the chemical weapons that we've used. I mean, just like Agent Orange, like how many American GIs came back with health issues related to Agent Orange? We just send like,
not to mention all the Vietnamese that were completely innocent, and now, and how many have died from various forms of cancers. Germany unleashed more potent mustard gas. It was basically it was a chemical arms race, really. British forces suffered 160,900 casualties and 4,000 deaths. By the time the U.S. troops joined the fighting, deadlier varieties were being used by both sides, including those with phosgene, hydrogen cyanide, and mustard agents. Casualties skyrocketed, but in relative terms, the number of fatalities declined sharply, and American chemists were determined to change that. So this is where we get into more of the government secrets part of this, which is how much the U.S. worked on our chemical warfare department. We launched a large-scale chemical warfare research program. Most of the nation's leading chemists descended on a single campus, American University, to conduct the research. The effort eventually employed over 1,700 chemists working out of more than 60 buildings, many hastily constructed. By the war's end, 5,400 chemists were serving in the military in what was being called the Chemists' War. In Great Britain, scientists at 33 laboratories tested 150,000 organic and inorganic compounds in an effort to discover even deadlier concoctions. The largest facility alone employed over 1,000 scientists. The Chemical Warfare Service prioritized speed over safety. And they had a bunch of accidents. They had clouds of gas escape from buildings and harm or kill people. They literally had canaries in the labs with them. So, the canary dies. You might want to step out for a moment, have a cigarette.
No, don't have a cigarette. Don't light anything. That'll actually I'm so glad that this isn't still happening. I mean, it's not like a bunch of pathogens escaped from Fort Detrick in 2019. Maybe even some of them were COVID. I'm glad that's not happening anymore. It's really good.
And it's not like we just found out the U.S. has been funding biolabs in Ukraine.
Yeah, and which is why Russia was bombing them, because they don't want bioweapons on their borders. But yeah, good. Everything's better now.
One of the reasons. One of the many reasons. Conant's. This is a Harvard chemist James Conant. His team produced artillery shells and aerial bombs packed with deadly substances, of which contact with even the smallest amount was believed to cause intolerable agony and death after a few hours. The Chemical Warfare Service established the largest production facility adjacent to Aberdeen, Maryland proving ground. In early 1919, the New York Times detailed the massive operation, the largest poison gas factory on Earth, they called it, producing 3 to 4 times as much as the British, French, and Germans combined. I mean, how insane is that? We're like barely in this war. We were in it for 6 months, and yet in that time, we took it upon ourselves to create the largest chemical warfare factory that ever existed, bigger than the countries that were actually involved in the war.
Go big or go home.
It's the American way. The factory produced 200,000 chemical bombs and shells daily. The assistant studied more than 4,000 potentially poisonous substances. 2 months before the armistice, the United States had perfected a new deadly approach to using chemical weapons. They were prepared to have planes drop 1-ton mustard gas containers over German cities. 1 ton of gas would engulf an area of an acre or more, and not a living thing, not even a rat, would live through it, said Walker, who was in charge of it, Colonel Walker. The new weapons were ready to deploy in September 1918, but the Allies balked at their use, and then the war ended. Walker said, "We could have wiped out any German city we pleased, and probably several of them within a few hours of giving the release signal. A very big factor in their capitulation was the fact that we had this ability, this new ability. On Armistice Day, they shuttered the operations with 2,500 tons of mustard gas sitting on the piers for shipment." And Walker said, quote, "Somehow we have been cheated of our prey."
Oh, God. Oh, America is truly inhabited by evil. Like evil. Like pure evil.
During the war, the combatants used a total of 124,000 metric tons of 39 different toxic agents, dispersed for the most part by 66 million artillery shells. Among the German casualties in 1918 was Lance Corporal, and I don't know if you've heard of this guy, Adolf Hitler, who described the incident in a book, I guess he wrote, called Mein Kampf.
Yep, we helped create another evil person.
Now, granted, I'm sure Hitler was not going to be a nice dude no matter what, but that probably didn't help.
No, it didn't. I mean, again, like all of this stuff is, it's like sadistic and evil. I mean, it's like the episode we did where Japan was wanting to surrender, and we did not need to drop the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and still did it anyway. I mean, this is, and then just all of our collateral damage with our insane bullshit, like putting the Shah of Iran in power who tortures his own people. And there's a young guy who saw his parents get tortured and later changed his name to the Ayatollah Khomeini. Like, just like we.
You know what's funny is I was just about to say we never consider the blowback of everything we're doing. And I just realized I can almost promise you that term came from when the British used that chemical weapon and it blew back on them. I think it probably did come from that. We never consider our blowback.
Never.
Also, World War I provided the first real showcase of air warfare. Germany struck first in 1914. Its Zeppelins dropped bombs on Liege, Belgium. Germany was the first country to bomb civilians from the air. Woohoo! All right. German airmen bombed Paris on several occasions. During the 1920s, Great Britain made extensive use of aerial bombardment to defend and police. So this is after the war. Defend and police its far-flung empire in places as disparate as Afghanistan, Egypt, India, Yemen, Somaliland, and especially Iraq, which British forces occupied following the defeat of the Ottoman Empire, under the euphemism of air policing. So the Brits were bombing their quote-unquote own people. Obviously, they shouldn't have owned these people. These should have been sovereign societies of their own. But technically, at that time, they were ruled by Great Britain, and they were using their air policing to deal with their people.
Jesus Christ. Well, we've done stories on America bombing its own people, too. So, well.
Yeah, but, well, you know what it goes to show is it goes to show that these wars are like, well, really the ongoing battle of globally is of the working class against the ruling elite, but most don't know it. Most are stuck in wage slave jobs. They don't realize their slavery to this system. They don't realize there could be a life where they actually get to pursue their passion and become who they want to become. And so we're kind of enslaved into this mentality, and the real war should be the working class and the average people against a tiny number of sociopathic ruling elites. But we don't really realize that, and that's why you have countries bombing their own people, or arresting their own people, or imprisoning their own people, as we do here in America, the largest prison state in the world, because we don't understand that there's a secret war that is the real war, that is the ruling elite against the working class.
The day Americans wake up to the fact that they're actually in class warfare, that'll be the day some stuff really changes. But until that time, Americans so easily, and the world is very easily propagandized into picking a team to fight with each other. In this country, it's red state, blue state, and you literally buy jerseys and merchandise and hats just the way you would a sports team. And
that's a good segue to what we'll cover in the next episode, which is the revolution in Russia and why it was such a problem for the other countries that didn't have a revolution. So that'll be the next episode. A couple of quick things before we wrap up. So this was the first test of air power. There weren't really airplanes. It was like Zeppelins and things. But I think one guy had the thing where you flap your arms really hard. So he had that going. Another guy would pump up his shoes, and then they'd deflate with a farting noise, and they'd propel him into the air. So.
And the Benny Hill music would start playing.
Yeah. So Italian air power strategist Giulio De Het, I don't know how to pronounce that, argued that aerial bombing now held the key to military victory, and of course he was right, and differentiating between soldiers and civilians was no longer possible. Basically, listen, folks, air power is where it's at, and when we're up that high, we can't tell who is who, so we just got to bomb all of the peoples. God. Let's see. We're back to the chemist for one more minute. Chemist, the most conservative segment of the scientific community, not coincidentally, the one most closely tied to the chemical warfare industry, took pride in their contribution to the war effort. And they fought. So after World War I, there was obviously a lot of push to ban chemical weapons, which, of course, the idea of banning things in war is kind of hilarious because you're still murdering tons of people. But I don't know. I guess it's better to have things banned than not banned. I mean, we should ban nuclear weapons as well. But chemists joined with their military and industrial allies in resisting post-war efforts to ban future uses of chemical warfare. Fucking chemists worked to try and make chemical warfare allowed. In 1925, the League of Nations adopted the Geneva Protocol, outlawing the use of chemical and bacteriological weapons in war. The Coolidge administration supported it. Veterans groups and the American Chemical Society and chemical manufacturers led the opposition.
Dropping chemical bombs is good for business.
So the U.S. kind of gave in to the pressure. 40 countries, including every great power besides the United States and Japan, ended up ratifying the treaty to ban chemical weapons. Gas warfare scored its greatest successes against the poorly equipped Russian troops, who suffered 425,000 gas-induced casualties and 56,000 deaths. For Russia, with 2 million dead and 5 million wounded, the war proved disastrous in all regards. All right, we'll get into the Bolsheviks and a man named Vladimir Lenin and Leon Trotsky next time around.
Trotsky, Lev Davidovich Bronstein, and his life shortened with an axe. So, well, I mean, I'm sold. War sounds great now that we've heard this segment.
Sounds great, and I'm glad we're gearing up for another one right now.
Oh, God. It's amazing that the ruling elites, or master classes they were called by Eugene Debs, he keeps using the same playbook. They use the same playbook every century. They use every decade. They use the same playbook, and regular people fall for it every time because they spend a lot of money, time, and effort to keep what they've actually done and keep people like Eugene Debs out of the history books so people don't learn about it. That's why, we have to, someone said we have to do this show just to.
Well, we're one of the few people that are talking about these things, and but at least no one's trying to stop us. At least it's not like you've been demonetized. I've had my YouTube channel banned globally. I've had my show shut down, and I've had my other podcast deleted from Spotify. It's not like that. So,
no, this has been great, man. It's been awesome. Devoting the last 5 years to this, and no matter how successful I always started to get, and then it's thwart. 2 years ago, I'm going live 5 days a week because of the shutdown. I got 70,000, I got 75, I was 78,000 subscribers. I'm going to hit under 100,000, no problem. Nope. And now I'm back down to 75,000. Yep. It's just it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. No matter what I do, it's in what you do, we keep getting throttled like this, and we should each have our own late night primetime TV shows talking about this with a massive following of people who most people agree with us. Once they wake up to the truth of this, they go, holy shit, you're right. I've just seen it just in, I've put a couple of posts on TikTok and Instagram where I've talked about the bullshit that's happening. Like I did I stand with Ukraine, Yemen, Iraq, Palestine, Afghanistan. I can't really stand for them. I got a bad back.
No, yeah, got a bad back. I'll sit for them, but yeah.
That's gotten a lot of views. And then I did another one about, saying basically America judging anybody else for war crimes is it's a joke I've made on this show. It's like a drug addict with face tattoos running a meth lab out of a preschool, walking into a bar saying, you guys drink too much. It's gotten a lot of views, and the response is overwhelming. And I think especially younger people who are way more tuned into alternative media, they're not watching CNN. They seem way more wait a minute, there's more out there. I'm learning more. And it's you see why they deliberately stifle us, because we could lead a powerful message that they don't want to, you and I should be selling out theaters. I mean, you and I should be selling out massive theaters with this lefty message.
Well, and it started to happen for a bit, your videos were doing well. My videos were doing very well. My peak before the suppression hit was right before Trump got elected, because then they said, oh, it was, all the social media needs to suppress the truth because it hurt us. And But before that, I played, what was it, 2 nights in San Francisco, selling out a 400 or 600 seat theater. And it was, that was kind of the peak. And I sold it out fairly easily. Like,
Right.
and they realized that was a serious problem. Like, you can't have that many people reading and learning the truth. And sadly, your average person, and I don't know that I'm not exempting myself in this critique, we're fairly lazy. Like, Amazon is a hit because it's got 1 click instead of 3 clicks. Most people, yes, they may like a show, but they're more likely to watch what's on autoplay next or what's shown in the sidebar next to the video they're watching. So if YouTube never shows your videos to anybody who's not already a fan, it doesn't really grow,
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if YouTube was still doing their honest algorithm that they did, 5-10 years ago, we would all have, you'd have 1 million subscribers. I'd have 500,000 subscribers. Like it would be, and we'd be selling out 1,000-seat theaters. You know what I mean? Like it would be crazy. And now it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, I really, other than just like, I'm going to keep doing this because I don't know what to do. Because I haven't watched every new comedy special on Netflix. I've watched some of them, but
it's garbage.
Oh God, it's not like, it'd be one thing. It was like, boy, these new young comics, man, they are fucking awesome. They're throwing fastballs. It's all bullshit because you're the only thing that's going to get you a special is Tinder and talking about sex and making fun of the homeless or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, no. Every time I try and like be like, okay, you're hypercritical of comedy, Lee. Just fucking chill out. Watch a few minutes of the special. You used to know her back in New York. I'm sure this special is great. And I'm being overcritical. And I watched like 2 minutes, and I'm like, these are jokes you'd write in your first year of comedy. They're saying nothing, and then it's either that or I like click on like Ricky Gervais. I didn't realize it was a special from 2018, but I literally just click into the middle of the special, and he's like, yeah, a man can become a woman, and I want to be a chimpanzee. That's what I want to be. I'm gonna convert to chimpanzee. And I was like, really? This is of the things to get angry about right now. Trans people is what's just, someone needs to take them down a peg. When they're getting hanged in the streets, someone needs to take them down a peg. Like, it's like, what the fuck is the matter with you people?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. I mean, because the mainstream media is not talking about the crimes that are happening in Yemen in a war that America has backed. Then no one's talking. Then no one is talking about it in their respective act because it's not even people are like, what, Yemen? What's going on there? Like they don't even know. Yep. So, I mean, I try to put it in my act as best I can, and I feel like people like it, and I'm even written a bunch of new stuff that I'm trying to like use, and I'm excited to go on the road with it, and I really want to shoot a special and put it out there, but I don't know who's gonna buy it. I mean, other than like I can shoot it myself and put it up like on Rockfin or whatever, which will be cool. But again, just my audience will get it. It's not like it's going to go out to a new set of people who are going to go, oh my God, this guy's amazing. It's crazy. And it's like, our message is like, I mean, like, I feel obligated to talk about this stuff comedically in the way like George Carlin woke. I remember watching his special that came out in 2003, and I was like, this guy's in his 60s and he's still fucking throwing fastballs. Like, God damn, he was calling it out. And no one else is.
Well, yeah. And each of those people who did that, it's like they got famous doing other things that were allowed by corporate America. And then, when Carlin really started hitting hard, he was on like the only network that was basically paid by subscriber fees. So there were no advertisements. So HBO would let him say whatever the fuck he wanted. So he could do whatever he wanted. And it's like, you had to get to that point to be able to say those things and be paid for it, and have it on a big platform. It was somewhat similar with like Richard Pryor. Pryor got famous doing things that were not that threatening to corporate America. And then he started being very threatening to America. And it was kind of too late. He was super famous. And, luckily he self-sabotaged himself to some degree. But, what was it? Didn't he have a show that lasted like a few episodes before they turned it off or banned it or whatever, or censored it? Or Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. I mean, so I guess we'll just, I mean, I love doing the show. We keep doing it. And we're going to, folks, if you're watching out there, support what we're doing. You can see the scroll below at liberapay.com/government secrets. We are going to be doing a European tour of some type in September. Maybe
if anybody knows
Europe will
venues, hit us up.
Yep. We're starting to reach out to people and look for venues. So we're going to do live shows, man. And share this podcast and put it out there as best you can. I don't know what else to do.
We're hanging in there. And you know, I feel like even if no one were watching this, I feel like I need it because it's my it's my sorbet at the end of the week. It's my palate cleanser.
Well, like literally, if no one was watching it, literally just we would still just have this phone call. Like we would just be like, "Dude, did you hear what the fuck happened in that garment factory in New York?" Like,
I'd pull out some book to read from. You'd try and sell me a T-shirt. Yeah, we'd still do it. I'd try and talk you into joining my Patreon. Yeah.
Seriously, Lee, though, GrahamElwood.com for this t-shirt right there, buddy. Well, all right, cool. Well, folks, I'm on the road in April. You can go to GrahamElwood.com. I'm going to Chicago. I will also be in I'm now doing Burbank, the Flappers in Burbank. I'm doing Ventura, California. And Waikiki. So all those are at GrahamElwood.com. Check them out.
Yeah, I'm not on tour, but everybody should enjoy my videos. LeeCamp.com and Patreon.com/LeeCamp.
Dude, nice work. We'll talk next week, buddy. Is this a 3-part World War I extravaganza?
It's at least 3. It might sneak into 4.
Wow, the only thing that would lasted longer than 3 segments was Leafgate, buddy.
It's true. It's true. All right, man. Have a good week.
All right, I'll see you, buddy.
Later.
Lee Camp, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go on over to rockfin.com/GrahamElwood, a great way to support the show. Lorna Paisley, shave your knuckles for justice. I get more laughs from you two than anything else. It is the best entertainment before you get serious. Thank you so much, Lorna. I laugh. It's same to Lee and Ron Placone just make me laugh so much. That's why I like doing live stream with them every week because it's super, super fun. Annabelle Corley, shave your knuckles for justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/GrahamElwood. I know it must be demoralizing feeling like you're not making progress, but you are. I listen to you in Australia and you have people listening all over the world. And the fact that they are wanting you to not be heard so badly means a lot. Yes, it does. Thank you, Annabelle. It's always great to hear from you all over the world. It's a really cool thing to know that there's this like international community. I mean, look, we've got 489 people watching like all over the world. We are up almost at 600 today. So we've got 387 likes. Let's get that up to over 400. We can do that. We got 7 people watching on Twitch. Hello. Welcome to Gotham. Yeah, and we're not ready to retire. Yeah, something good eventually will happen. 394 likes. Come on. Get that up to 400. Come on, YouTube. 399. 399. 399. 400. There it is. Melissa A. Shave your knuckles for justice. You need to try to get on more YouTube channels for interviews to promote your channel. Thank you, Melissa. You're very true on that. I keep seeing videos in which someone says no one else on the left is saying this, and it's always something you've been talking about for months before the person who just said no one else is talking about it. I plug PV in the comments. Thank you so much. Lara Frangi, shave your knuckles for justice. Thank you for supporting us, Lara. Really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us on the Rockfin. Toasters all over the world are with you, Graham. Thank you. Keith was on fire tonight. Yeah, this Keith guy, whoever he is, that just showed up today. It was really fun doing a show with Keith. I don't know what happened to the other dude, but I don't know why he keeps changing his name. Don't change your name. It just makes it harder for everybody. Graham is in another dimension. Sees likes behind everyone else. I know. 436, right on. God is a God of truth and writes such upon everything. That is what enables us to abuse free will and lie. Wow. That's I don't know what that means. Near 420 on the left coast. I'm after it. Take care. It's almost 420 on the left coast. Right on. 438. Awesome. What search engine do I use? I typically try to use ecosia.org. It's a non-for-profit search engine. Sometimes I got to use, I'll just be like, forget and we'll use evil Google, but I really try to use ecosia.org. I want to get a t-shirt with Lee's picture on it that says Keith rocks. Keith, look at that vegan gun. Holy shit. I've been lifting more weights, guys. More weights, more vegan protein powder. It's pretty amazing. Do I know the song Universal Soldier by Billy St. Marie? I don't think so. This format is too silly. He's dealing with mega serious issues. I'll let Graham on his own. Well, Sean, you stand alone. Ecosia. Here, I'll put it in the chat. I'll put Ecosia in the chat. Well, first of all, here's all my tour dates. Yeah, we will do live. We're going to do live shows because this audience is growing. It's really cool. Like our last video got like 6,000 or 7,000 views. And when we add up between all of Lee's platforms and mine, we're starting to do, we're starting to get over 10,000 views per episode, which is great. We need to, the silly to cut the weight of the subject matter. Yeah, I know. I know. Ecosia doesn't return the best search results. I know. And that's why sometimes I got to use evil Google, but Graham and Leah made me laugh. We need it. Thank you, Truth to Tweet. Guns are front and center dollars. Yes. Surfs up in Oz. G, waiting for you to get on it. Oh, I got to come down under. I got to come down under. Oh. What if YouTube numbers were always hugely inflated lie? I don't think Jimmy Dore won't hold Nick from Movement for a People's Party the same standards he tells his audience to hold politicians. Or do you think he's making money from it? No, Jimmy's not making money from Movement for a People's Party. Movement for a People's Party is small, has no power. So like going after Movement doesn't make any sense to me. It's like they have no power. It's a good thing. Is it perfect? No, but it needs to. We need to have it. Like we don't even like. They always say like. I'd love to have it. You know, people go, boy, we need a third party, and it's like, gee, it'd be great if we had a second one. We just need some type of third party somewhere has some power, that has a candidate winning something. I think YouTube restricts numbers. Yeah. Best email to your dear elected. I read in Grandma with live YouTube to send you this email demanding you mandate freedom for all voters to vote on anything government wants to. Well, nice. Thank you, Dave Dowling. Consumers have so much control, we never use it. Yeah. Well, you have to unify people to get control, and then that's what they always try to come in and crush. Graham, I know the game last night didn't desired outcome, but tell us how being at a live event was. Socks for Justice. It was so fun. So I haven't, I haven't been to a college basketball game in several years, obviously, and March Madness. This was the Sweet 16 round. It was so fun. I mean, look. Obviously, it's big corporate sports, but I love sports, and it was so fun to just, I need the distraction for me personally. I mean, I think sports are used to just keep people distracted, and people are more obsessed with sports so they don't pay attention, and that's a problem. But sports on its own is not the problem, And because I do this show, which is pretty depressing. It's depressing. Doing the show is depressing. It's Matt S. Do I have any thoughts on Michael Schellenberger running for governor of California? Don't know much about that person yet. I haven't, but it's hard for me to say. But I'll learn more about what's the gubernatorial race in California. But it was fun going to the game because it was just a distraction. It was just watch basketball and watch it up close. And it's college basketball. So there's like both schools' bands are there. I saw the Michigan-Villanova game first, and then Arizona-Houston. Obviously, Houston beat Arizona. They dominated. Their defense was lights out. Arizona was out of it. But it was fun, man. It was just fun to just watch sports, and was talking to the people next to me. It was some couple guys, and we were just talking basketball, and they should do this, and that was just fun to talk sports. It's a nice distraction, Sports, if that's all you do and you're just obsessed with sports all the time, that's obviously not good. Getting all mad about sports and worked up and spend too much money, it's no good. Getting too obsessed about anything, getting too obsessed about politics is not good. I know people like indie media people that I remember talking to a couple of them, and I was like, do you guys take a break? Do you have fun? They're just around each other all the time? Like what? And they're always like, can you believe what so-and-so said on Twitter? It's like, we need a break. So for that, it was a blast, and I'm going to go see spring training in Arizona Sunday and Monday because I love baseball and it's fun. Graham, that's part of the American problem. Americans have an inherent need to belong to and be a part of a team at all costs. Things get very black and white on all levels. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, look, the team thing is so overhyped. It's part of the conditioning, as you're talking about, to get to get Americans just so pick a team. It's why it's so easy then. And the way, if you look at, and we want to talk about the corporate media, you bring up a great point. Watch, if you're not a sports fan, watch ESPN. Just watch some SportsCenter and ESPN, and then go watch CNN, and you'll see the way CNN covers, especially an election or a political issue, they cover it the same way. And it's like, wow, that's really, and when I talk about the corporate media, I'm also talking about their coverage of sports and their coverage of entertainment. We got the award season happening, so pick a team. Who do you want for Oscar? Have your Oscar pool, just like your March Madness pool. It's the same thing. So it's like that's, you see it. 456 likes. Come on. Let's get to 500 likes. Let's do it. Let's get to 500 likes. Come on. Aussies don't know how to put on a big show. Is what America does best. Yeah, we do. We do know how to put on a big show. Yes, American sports are fun. They are fun. They're just hype, and it's big fun. New York City Mayor dropped mask requirements for sports players. It's not the Knicks player. It's the Kyrie Irving is the anti-masker who plays for Brooklyn. He's an anti-masker, an anti-vaxxer as well. And just so you know, he's also a flat earther. Like, that's how fucking dumb it is. Kyrie Irving thinks the earth is flat and he plays in the NBA. Graham, whenever you come to Florida next, you got to check out spring training. Yeah, I want to see. I've only seen spring training once in Tucson when I was in college there, but I'm going to Phoenix, so I've never seen it in Phoenix, and I want to see it in Florida as well. Very few humans are comfortable living with the idea that no one in any position of power is looking out for them. I know they want to believe that they care, and they don't. They just don't. So 470 likes. Come on. Get it. Hit the like button. We can do it. We can do it. Hit the like button. Graham, we are waiting for you to visit Scandinavia. That is going to happen. This tour that Lee and I are going to do in September, we're going to be in Stockholm for sure. We're going to probably do a show in Stockholm, maybe Copenhagen. And we're going to get some other shows in around Europe, but definitely in Sweden. We'll definitely be in Sweden. The earth is flat and all balls are frisbees. Thank you, Richard Swanik. Holly Horn, you went to University of Arizona? Right on. What year did you graduate? Bear down. When will Graham and Ron tour together again? We will soon. Hopefully Ron will be in Europe. And Ron's talking about being in Europe in September too. So might be some like Ron and I doing some shows, and then Lee and I doing shows. Maybe me, Ron, and Lee all do stand-up one night, and then Lee and I do Government Secrets the next night. Oh, you'll see me. Yeah, we're going to be in Italy. Oh, damn, I want to go to some Nordic locals. Sweet, for sure. Yuri Nation, it's not going to happen. He's not a professional comedian, so he's not funny. So that won't happen. You might want to watch a different show. If you come back to Oz in winter, you should go to Aussie Rules Footy in Melbourne. Yes, that's the other thing too. I want to see sports that I don't know. Like I want to see cricket, and I want to see Aussie Rules football. I've been to rugby matches, but I want to see Australian Rules football. I want to see footy, as you guys call it. I want to see that for sure. I want to see sumo wrestling in Japan. Yeah. I want to see like one of the big European soccer leagues, like the Premiership or La Liga, because I've only ever seen MLS soccer, which is fun, but it's like minor leagues. It's like the minor leagues. I want to go to some big European and see the best players play. Cork in Ireland is amazing. I'm going to definitely go to Ireland. I did a polka gig with Tim Heidecker last Saturday. The Violent Femmes was our group. The Violent Dems was nice. South Africa for cricket, right on. Definitely Stockholm, and probably Copenhagen. But we've got to work because Lee and I don't know that many like people that have venue. We don't know. We've never toured there, so we don't know. Graham, there is nothing like being at a college basketball when there are fans of multiple teams at the venue. It's an amazing experience. It's so fun. I mean, it's just like, last night, Arizona, Houston, there was probably 60-40 Houston because the game was in Texas. It was 60-40 Houston to Arizona. But it was like, it was fun, man. I mean, it was just like Houston they made some great plays and the place went nuts. And then Arizona started to come back and the Arizona fans were going nuts. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. Take me with that sweet Scandinavian healthcare. Yeah, I know. All right, folks. My bro-in-law's from Denmark. Any East Coast USA shows in the works, Graham? I think yes. I think it's since it's a long way to get from the South Pacific to Europe. I think I'm gonna hit. I think I'm gonna hit Europe. I'm gonna maybe do some shows in Europe end of July, or no, end of August before I go to Europe. So maybe Ron will be with me. So Graham, listen to John Pine's The Great Compromise song. You got it. Everyone gorgeous and tall in Copenhagen. All right. All right, folks. I got to go. I'm going to go hang out with the guy that does that did the political vigilante. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're getting new tea. We might. We're going to discuss that tonight. 483 likes. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get 500 likes. Come on. We might be. We're going to talk about that tonight. 484 likes. Come on, let's get up to 500. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. Come on, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice. Have a fun. G, peace and love for you. Absolutely. I have to go back in New York in May for my dad's burial. Sorry to hear that. Will toast manufacturers let Ron back into Australia? I don't know. I don't know. Ron might have to get a special toaster visa through the Australian consulate. Yeah. Ron will have to get a toaster visa. 493. We only need 7 more likes. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hurl, 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 hurl. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Come on. 495. 495 likes. Come on. Come on, YouTube. Do it. Do it. 496. Come on. 497. 3 more, 3 more, 3 more, 3 more. One more, one more, one more, one more. One more, one more. Come on. Somebody hit the like button. Come on. Come on. Boom. We got it. Yes. You guys are awesome. Thank you. We did it. Thank you for doing it. Will you two visit the Bay Area? We'll be up there again. We'll go to grahamelwood.com, everybody, because all these new tour dates: Waikiki, April 6th, Chicago, April 14th through the 16th. I'm doing 4 shows and 3 nights in Chicago. April 28th at Flappers in Burbank. It's the Graham Elwood and Friends. I'm going to have some funny people on it. Probably some of the people that have been contestants on Anything Should Happen. And then August 29 through 30 at Ventura, California. So there's a bunch of shows. Go to grahamelwood.com. Go to grahamelwood.com so you can buy PV merchandise. You support the show. And then you look cool when you come to one of my stand-up shows wearing this. So that's it, everybody. Thank you, everybody on Twitch. Thank you, everybody on YouTube for over 500 likes. That's pretty awesome. Toaster visa for justice, absolutely. So, yes. Thank you all for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Sorry, tech issue. No show Monday because I'm traveling. No late night crypto lounge Monday night because I'll be traveling. But I'll be live Wednesday with Rachel Blevins, former RT America host. We're gonna have another RT America person on, but I got videos dropping all every day. So check that out. Spread the word and support the show in whatever way you can. I very much appreciate it. Have a good weekend, everybody. Go Cubs.